Change the stream key, right?
Yep.
Good boy. That's a good boy. Now that I know how to do it, I just fucking
everything
bombard you about it. I can't believe we got ghosted.
I know, that's super weird.
That's a first. That's a Thunderhead's first.
And wait, go back.
I genuinely hope that he's okay.
Well, duh.
Well, I'm saying like I'm just not convinced that he was actually trying to do it.
Well, I know. I'm not either. It is just strange. Where are my folks at? Are we live?
Yeah.
Where are my folks at?
I don't know. I don't know where anyone is. I think everyone's gone.
Say hey in the chat. I know it's guys. I know that it's August 30th, but let's have a little fun here.
Yeah, I'm all about fun.
What do we have? A month and a half till Thunder. B-ball, as I like to call it, takes a couple syllables away.
It's
Hopefully that stays.
Whoa.
But it's
although, hey, it went offline for a second. How's the stream?
For him, it's loading.
Yeah, it was loading for me too. So I just wanted to make sure everything.
Fine on my end, but I can't see it.
Okay.
You want to just
do it?
Just hop in there?
I want to.
Let's hop in, baby. Take a swan dive.
Just get in there and fiddle around.
Yeah.
Play.
Let's do it.
Yep.
Nate Saunders says he can barely hear us.
Well, mother.
This is a recurring issue right now.
Sure is. Now's the first. Oh, there it is. Now's the first time it's recurring. It was an issue.
Is that any better, bud?
Nate, stick around. Yeah, let us know how that sounds before we just hit it live.
Nate, you're kind of like our quality assurance here.
Yeah.
You're testing it.
There's some sort of weird translation from where we're coming to the YouTubes, and it doesn't receive us well.
Which is weird because on our tests it worked fine.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Chirag Patel says it works for him.
Hey, Nate.
Yeah, what about Nate?
Turn up that volume on the computer.
Try that. Hey, can you, with the, now that we're so loud, can you pull my headphones down a little?
Oh, yeah.
Maybe, actually, yeah, me too, just a little bit, tiny bit.
Cool, sounds like we sound good. Ateev Sharma says we sound good.
Perfect.
Hell yeah, Samuel in the MF house, the mother freaking house.
No,
all right,
dude.
guys.
in the
That was too many. That was too many.
House. In the house.
All right. Should we do it then?
Yes, let's
Yeah.
go,
we sound
baby.
good?
Yes.
Let's roll.
Here we go.
You're listening to Thunderheads, a podcast for Thunder fans by Thunder fans.
Welcome to Thunderheads. If you're tuning into YouTube Live, we're psyched to have you. I am Brandon Soul, joined by the man, Jacob Man.
Hey.
I say that your nickname derives from your last name.
Yeah.
Some have said that.
It is man.
Yeah.
Just one in on the nickname, though.
Yeah, right. That's only one.
Okay. Back from his vacation.
Yes.
Dark and Stormy's in the house. Jason Lewis.
Yes, sir.
We're supposed to be joined by David Brandon of Daily Thunder. We haven't heard from him. We're a little worried, so
Kind of concerned.
we genuinely hope he's okay.
We think he's okay.
Yeah.
We think he's okay.
We'll provide an update.
Our gut says he's okay. Hopefully he is okay.
It's not all bad because we made him an old-fashioned, and Brandon makes a really good old-fashioned.
We might just have a community old-fashioned
I don't
after
know
these.
if it's going to be community.
Oh.
It's sitting in front of me.
Well, speaking of the old-fashioned, we had someone on Twitter ask us after the last podcast that he'd like us to reveal what we're drinking each and every week.
Which we're
I thought was
completely for.
Yeah, because typically we are, at least a couple of us are having a drink during the show. And so this week, it's uniform. We're all having old-fashioned.
Soul-fashioned, because Brandon makes extremely good old-fashioned.
So cheers to that. I'm glad.
Cheers, fellas.
I'm glad we're here. I hope David's okay. Even if he gets here in the middle of the show, we're gonna let him just hop right on.
This is his first time. He doesn't know how we do things. He's going to show up, and we're going to be like, have a seat, buddy. We're live.
Yeah, we're live.
Just
We'll
welcome
do it
to the
live.
show.
Jump
That's
in.
right.
Yeah, so it's a fun show today. Just
Yep.
whether or not David comes or not.
It's a fun show.
We got a lot to talk about,
Lots to talk about.
which is strange for this time of the year.
Yeah, one thing which isn't going to be a main topic, but Mono Ginobili retired. We'll get to that later in the show in notes or something like that. Kind of interesting. It feels like the end of an era.
It's
It's
definitely
like
past.
it's one of those things that he's 41, but it's like I never thought it was going to happen.
Right,
I think,
yeah.
or something like that. Or another thing that, very August 30th top. Is that August 30th? Is that today?
Is that today?
It's either
Yeah,
today or
today's
tomorrow.
the-
Yep,
today's
sure
the
is.
30th?
It's today.
Oreo is releasing very outlandish flavors. If you guys have seen this, we're going to get into that way down the road. Andre Roberson is breaking news on himself, so that's cool. Some people think LeBron had too many cuss words in his new HBO show, The Shop, which I watched the other night, which I'd like to discuss later on the show as well. We're going to talk about the Kyle Singler stuff.
Don't you worry.
Obviously. We were hoping David was going to be here for that because he's a cap expert. He's going to really help us out on the benefits of stretching him. And we're going to even ask him about the Melo trade exception. If he doesn't show, we're still going to dive into those things. We're just not going to start with those things.
Right.
But we are thankful because it is August 30th, and we actually have things to talk about.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, because normally you're right here and you're like, what the hell are we going to talk about on this podcast?
Chat about Skittles.
Nothing in that one said Oreos. We're
Yeah.
on Oreos.
Yeah.
But, nothing's going on in the NBA
Skittles were last year.
at this time.
We
Typically.
do, yeah, we do actually have some content. Like, and I didn't feel when we were.
We
prepping
just say
for
that
this.
the whole podcast. It's coming. It's coming. I
The
promise.
whole thing. Just wait.
So we were gonna start with Singler. We'll get there in hopes that David shows up.
Dang, Mr. The Wash has says hello from France,
Wow.
dude.
Bonjour.
That's it. I was trying to think about it. Say hello in
Bonjour.
French. Damn it.
Andre Roberson came out, did an interview the other day, and he said one thing that was really interesting. He said that he was
Yeah.
targeting December, maybe Christmas, to come back and be himself completely, his 100% self. This is interesting because a lot of people expect him to be back at the very start of the season. I don't think what he said necessarily means he won't be back at the start of the season. Maybe it means more that he will be back, but he just doesn't expect to be 100% completely who he is, as effective as he typically is.
That is correct.
So that's how you take it as
Yes,
well.
100%.
So, but what if he's not ready?
Well,
Because I think we need to explore this because this could affect standings. We know how loaded the West is. The Lakers have LeBron now, so there's another team out there. The Jazz are going to be better. It's going to be a dogfight.
yeah.
You don't want to have a bad start like you did last year. 8-12, the Thunder started last year. You want to get off to a good start. So, do you guys think he's going to be ready for the season? Number one.
I think he's going to be in training camp and ready to play. I don't think they're going to – he might start, but I don't think he's going to play excessive minutes
Not
or
gonna
anything
push it.
like that. I think they're going to ease him in, ease him back in.
Well, that's a scary thing because if Roberson's
is
not
scary.
If
It is a little scary.
If he's not 100%, can Roberson be Roberson? You know what I mean?
That we kind of touched on that. It was more of like a fear of him never being himself again. But if he starts out not being himself, is he really that useful to have out there at all?
Right.
Like maybe they try him a couple times and it doesn't. He's not really able to move as well, and so maybe they just keep him out for a couple more months.
That's scary though.
That's scary to me.
which-
I think for Roberson to be the impact player that he is, he has to be 100% because that's what makes him the impact player. I've said before when we talked about this, we've talked about before, what's it mean for the Thunder if he doesn't come back 100%? I think that means a lot because I think him being 100% makes him the defender he is. If he's at 80%, is he that much better of a defender than an average, just an above average defender?
Yes.
And if he's not,
he's probably
yes.
an above average defender.
right. But so then he's not an elite defender at
Right.
that
Correct.
point. And then at that point, can you afford to have an
Him
above
on
average?
offense.
Right, exactly.
A
And
guy,
so then
a guy who's
you're
a
in
black hole offensively. Yeah.
Not trying to be negative.
Maybe it helps. Say he comes back. Say Robertson comes back around 80%, like we're saying. Maybe it helps having Paul George on this team. Obviously, it helps having Paul George on the team, but maybe defensively, it really helps having Paul George on this team
right.
Yes.
because maybe he is just that above average defender, and so Robertson doesn't have to exclusively guard the best player on the other team. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you
he
can kind of
can
switch
kind of
off,
take it a little easy at the start, maybe, and
ease himself back in that way.
And one thing too, you got to remember that the Thunder kind of loaded up on some wings. Yeah, maybe they're not incredible players yet, but I
No,
think
that's
they're gonna.
right. You're right.
They're gonna use those guys to spell him a little bit in the start. That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Might have been the reasoning behind just stockpiling
Right.
those guys.
because just in case he's not able to come back immediately, you at least have some options to try out, and hopefully one of them works.
Right. So who is the guy? So say he comes back. Well, say he's not quite ready to start the season. Because do you think with Roberson, is he the style of player, like, say he's not quite ready at the beginning of training camp? If he only has a couple days of training camp under his belt, maybe he only plays in one preseason game. Do they start him? If he does, let's say if he doesn't play in any preseason games because he's not quite ready for that speed, do they can't start him opening night, right?
Yeah, no, I would go away from that for sure.
But if he doesn't start, I mean, how much sense does Roberson make off the bench? Because I feel like not a ton.
And I mean,
of
maybe
just to get him back to game speed.
Sure, it's kind of just like integrating him in. It doesn't mean he can't play with the starters later in the game,
Right.
or
Well, the goal would be
or start him and play him.
right. The goal
10
would,
minutes.
The goal would be to get him back to the level
Right.
that we're used to Andre Roberson being at. At maybe up until that point, maybe up until December, as far as Andre Roberson goes, it's going to be a complete sacrifice as far as like, hey, this might not be our best option as far as winning games playing Roberson these minutes, but
We need him for later.
In the long run, this is the best way to do it.
And one thing to keep in mind schedule-wise is luckily the Thunder's beginning of the year this year is pretty easy compared to after December.
That's true. That's a good point.
Hellacious. So if he can get to 100% by December, we're in good shape, I think.
Clayton Boatman thinks that he'll come off the bench and then he'll start once he's ready, and I think that's probably true.
Yep.
If he's not, if he's not 100%, to your point, he probably doesn't start. Like I don't think they're gonna risk him.
That's the thing to me is they're not going to risk his future health on a couple of meaningless games. Like,
Especially,
that's not a thing.
like Jacob said, with that contract that you gave him last year.
Yeah.
And this is an injury, man. This is a scary injury.
Yeah, this is a serious one.
It's not something that you can just brush off and say, oh, he'll be back. But you know that Andre Roberson knows how unique of a player he is and how he's not a player that is just naturally skilled and gifted to the point where it's like, that's why you're in the NBA, because you're just so good at basketball. No, it's because he's worked his ass off to become the defender that he is.
Right.
And so he knows that in order to get back to that level, he's going to have to rehab properly. No days off. You know that he's taking this very seriously.
Yes.
It's nothing
Absolutely.
that I'm sure that's nothing that anyone has to worry about there, but it's still a little scary.
Yeah,
because
and
this injury.
also like with him, I think that one thing that makes him such a good defender is that he understands kind of the angles that people go to, and I'm hoping that he can kind of leverage those things instead of having to rely only on his athleticism. So maybe he can, as he's easing himself back, he can kind of rely on his knowledge of
that's true
how to attack people. And like you said, maybe not having to play against, like if they're playing the Rockets or something early on, which I can't remember when the first time we played them is, but if they're playing someone elite like that, maybe they switch Paul George onto the guy he would usually be guarding at first.
Yeah, and it'll just be good getting Robertson those reps. I mean, just getting him that lateral movement, that real game speed. Trying to guard James Harden, dribbling the ball.
Yeah.
You know, that's hard anyways. Now you're coming off an injury like this. There's just
5 fouls in 4 minutes.
The crazy thing about this injury, guys, is that it's not like this isn't some injury that just happens every year.
No, it's
a really strange
serious one.
It's very serious, and it's not a common one.
It's not common. Yeah.
What was Jeremy Lin had the same thing, right?
Is that what he had?
I think it was him, but
Yeah.
I'm not going to bank on that big true. So don't
I
hold
think
it
we're
to
going to bank on it.
Yeah,
Should we bank on it?
It's facts.
Yeah, Jeremy
Jason
Lin
said
had
that
it.
Jeremy Lin did that.
I just Googled it.
But that's
in my
also.
head.
But since he's done that, has Jeremy Lin been back and healthy? Or
This is
okay, so that's
he's
the
coming
one,
back this year.
That's the one he did last year.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, he's had a lot of injuries,
But he's
like
had a
that.
while
man.
longer. So.
Yeah, and they weren't. They weren't quite as pressed to bring a guy like Jeremy Lin back as the Thunder are going to be with Andre Roberson.
Which is such a weird thing to say. Because when you think about who Jeremy Lin is and what his game is, and when you think about Lin's sanity, it's just crazy.
Especially when you think about Lin's sanity.
Well, right, but
Yeah,
I'm
that's
saying,
the thing.
but you've seen what I mean is not like, of course, if you think about any player, their peak, but when you think about Dre's peak, it doesn't pop to you because Dre's peak is just his peak performance.
Right.
It's not like some crazy game.
Yeah,
For me,
you show
it's
it to
like,
a casual fan, they're like, "What are you showing
what's
me?"
happening?
Yeah,
and I say,
is boring.
Idiot. You don't know, idiot.
You don't see his feet.
You don't see his feet. Look at his position.
You didn't see him just slap that.
Look at that
offensive rebound
lateral
off the glass?
quickness.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. He just created that steal that another guy got. I know that other guy got it,
But look at
he
it.
created that. He created that. I just think it's crazy that because I agree. I don't disagree.
Right.
It's just crazy that a guy like Roberson means more to his team than a guy like Jeremy Lin does.
Robertson is proving his value more and more and more as the years go on. is it fair? This wasn't planned at all, but is it fair to say that Roberson means more to this team than Cephalosha ever did? Is that fair?
Yeah.
It's close, probably.
Yeah.
It does seem like it, because just the drop off that we had, which maybe would have been the same back in the day with the team that we had with Cephalosha, it probably was comparable at least.
Cephalosha, they moved him out of the rotation against the Spurs last year he was here, and he was frustrated about it. But couldn't
years
move
before
Roberson
that,
out.
Yeah, years before that though, Cephalosha was great. He
of
was
course.
key. So I guess you have to take
It depends
as a
on
whole.
which-
what you're focusing on for sure.
But I just think you couldn't take Robert if you're grading like importance to the team and context of the team. You couldn't take Robertson out of rotation, whereas they did take Cephalosha out of rotation. You take Robertson out of rotation, and so many. I mean, we've saw what happens.
Yeah, and
14
it's funny when they
spots.
did take Cephalosha out of the rotation. It kind of felt like that was going to be the end of Cephalosha, his career. That was going to be like kind of, how was he going to find a place on another NBA team? Because what his identity was, he was a defender, and he'll take an open three. He was basically what they tried to make Andre Roberson. Take an open three and make one occasionally, except Andre Roberson can't make the occasional one. Cephalosha could.
Unless it's the playoffs.
Look at Cephalosha with the Jazz, man. He got hurt, but he had a really good year last year. So you gotta kind of give it up to Cephalosha there for.
Turns out teams like defense also.
Maybe that whole, and this isn't to shed light on a horrible thing, but he got beat by a cop in the ankle. Maybe that inspired him. He was like, "I'm gonna show y'all.
Yeah,
you can break my ankle.
That was a really messed up situation. That was crazy.
Yeah, it was.
That was very okay. So back to the Robertson thing. Who starts? Who starts if Robertson cannot go?
Abrinas. I think Abrinas starts.
I was there too, but I changed.
I kind of leaned
Initially.
towards Ferguson because that's who they leaned on most last season before Corey Brewer came back. Or you could say the whole Singlers thing that happened.
Just because
they could just pull Brewer back in for a while.
If
and
Ferguson
use him for that, but I don't know.
Yeah.
If Ferguson has the weight on him, I could see it. And it sounds like he does.
I would lean Ferguson, but this could be a thing in preseason. I guess
They try out
maybe game 1 they go
Nader
Ferguson. Maybe game 2 they go Abrinas. Maybe game 3 they go
Timo.
TLC. Yeah,
I like to call him Timo.
I like Timo.
Yeah.
Isn't that
That's one of
luggage
his-
brand?
I have
I
no
don't
idea
know.
about luggage.
No, that's a luggage brand that is a sponsor of Russell
I'm gonna be
Westbrook.
honest. I don't even think I have ever had luggage.
Don't.
I
recommend
How do you
against having
get your
luggage.
stuff from one place to another place?
I have a bag, like a
zip,
bag.
like
It's
a
not like
Ziploc?
It's like a trash bag.
a Ziploc bag.
How do you get your stuff? I mean, you gotta have luggage. Everybody has some, and you don't know where it comes from.
I
No
just
one knows
borrow
where they
mine
get
from
their
family
luggage.
whenever I go on vacations,
That's
which
a
I
good call.
did.
That's a good call because have you ever shopped for luggage?
No.
No.
You guys never
I seriously have
don't,
not.
Don't. It's the most ridiculous thing ever. You'll go look and you're like, what? This bag that nothing special. It looks like that chair that has rips in
That's
it.
a nice chair.
That doesn't look
Okay,
like
the
it could
rips.
hold
That
clothes
is not a
very
nice
well.
chair. That is just a normal Dr. Evil looking chair.
Well, I need to show you some really crappy chairs, dude, because that's a good size chair.
That piece of luggage that'll be borderline carry-on, size. It'll be like $400. You're like, what?
Jesus
That doesn't even make
Christ.
sense. That doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, I'm never buying luggage.
that's pretty
I'll
insane.
just keep borrowing it from family. That's honestly, everyone. That's my life hack that I
So
found out.
let's get this train back on the tracks.
Good analogy.
Some people in chat, Mr. The Walsh and Clayton, wonder if TLC and Diallo may get minutes respectively. I could see. I mean, that is one of the two. Dude, if there's one year that the Thunder could afford. I mean, last year it was so funny. We were so thin at the 2 guard.
Yeah.
And this year we have like 100 of them. So literally 100 of them.
Zero good ones.
But
Well, we don't know
100
though.
Yeah.
Dude, we don't know though. I mean,
No,
we
I
may
know.
see a guy like TLC come out and I mean, TLC's
true.
a little big for the 2, I feel like, but maybe he's
Nah,
not.
he can play.
You can-
I mean, if Simmons can play the 1, then
Well,
TLC can play
he can
the
also
2.
handle the ball like a 1.
Well, that's true.
But no, TLC, the 2 and the 3 are interchangeable at this point in
true.
the NBA.
Yeah, you're right.
But yeah, no, I think for sure, I feel very confident that TLC is getting minutes on this team.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
Now Diallo, I don't know. I'm not sure. Preseason, we're going to see him, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be
Yeah.
a lot of fun to watch him in the preseason
Yeah.
and see how he looks on the NBA court. His athleticism is going to be up there with some of the best guys out there, but how is the speed of the game? How's that going to be
Right,
adapting
yeah.
for him? But yeah, so would we all agree it's between Abrinas or Ferguson?
Yeah.
I think initially, yeah. Going back to your point about preseason, if they see like Timo or Nader just come out and they look like they fit in really well with those guys, then they'll make the switch, I think. Like, because it wasn't like Ferguson was a perfect fit, obviously. Like, they went and got a guy in Corey Brewer.
Yeah, he's a rookie. He's 19 years old.
Did a lot better.
Right. They knew in the playoffs you weren't going to be able to trust a guy like that. And luckily, this is the beginning of the season, not the end of the season.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's
tough.
Okay, so let me ask you guys this. What if Roberson is not ready because it's August and hypotheticals are
A good time.
Well, and he gave you a lot of ammunition by saying, I think maybe December. It's like, I don't know what you mean. Either way, if you mean back to your 100% self or back at all, either way, it's a big deal.
Maybe Roberson is just a very realistic person and he's just being super honest, or maybe he's like shedding some light on the truth of the situation.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so I guess we don't know. But let's say that he's not ready to start this season. Whether he starts or it doesn't matter if he's coming off the bench or he's not playing at all, right?
Yep.
Either way, he's not starting. Let's say Ferguson or Abrinas starts and this team gets out. Like we said, the schedule's pretty easy to start the season. Let's say this team starts off 17-4 or something really nice.
Right. Solid.
And the team's looking really good and there's great chemistry. Do you guys feel like Robertson's place on this team is solidified?
Yes, I do.
Even with something like that.
Yep.
Even with all these wings.
I'm going to say no if he's not 100%, because the only reason that would happen is if he's not in.
Right.
No,
but I think
if he gets to 100%,
Oh,
you think he's coming back in the start?
If he gets
kind
to
of what you're
100%,
saying.
That's
you're
what I
saying,
mean. Or does he become
like
tradable?
A role player or tradable or
if the Thunder at that point could prove like, no, he's the Robertson of old, but now we found a new identity.
Oh boy. Do we have a David
here?
Do we have a David in the house?
Uh-oh.
Boys.
For an hour and 15 minutes. I've literally driven on every side street in this, like...
Well, we're live.
Oh, no.
No.
Yeah, come on in.
Come on in,
I'm
dude.
the last person in the world who doesn't have...
Oh yeah, you stepped there. You're good.
Hey, man.
Have a seat.
Welcome.
Hey, look what I got.
We're live
for you,
on the
dude.
YouTubes, and here's an
I
old-fashioned.
need it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We
Perfect.
gotcha.
I'm the
He
last
made
person
it.
in the world who doesn't have data on their phone. So
Ah.
I don't
Oh, you're
Google
good,
Maps.
man.
You got one of them
You're
flip
good.
phones?
Wait, you were
No.
using a physical map?
Yes.
Oh my
Like,
my
goodness.
lord.
like while you were
Well, no,
driving?
like Google Maps.
Oh, okay,
So, like,
okay.
Oh
okay.
my
okay.
goodness,
Yeah,
dude.
So,
All right,
Hi.
David. This is Jason. We've never met.
How's it going?
None of us have
Yeah.
met in
Nice to
person.
meet you.
nice to meet you.
Jacob, I'm
Hey,
Brandon.
good to
Met you at
see
the
you.
door.
How are you?
Before?
So we're live. We started. We've been talking about Robertson. We'll get you up to speed a little bit. We caught everyone up. We prepared them for this moment of you showing up in the middle of the pod. We're like, if he shows up, we're just gonna come in, and he's just gonna be a part of this thing. So I'm talking about Robertson. Talking about help me out here, guys. So
we kind of went through the idea of like, is Robertson healthy enough to start in the season? Is he going to kind of ease back into it? Maybe they don't bring him back until December, like he said he wasn't 100% till December, or is that more of an easing in? And then also, if he isn't 100% at the start of the season and the team does really well at the start, does that kind of make him a tradable asset if they've kind of figured out something maybe with Timo or someone else like that? So
and then what we're on right now, right, is the tradable asset. Is his role on this team solidified? Say this team hypothetically starts out without Robertson, whether it's off the bench because he's not completely ready to start, or he's just not ready to play at all, and they start out something like 17-4, hypothetically. Their schedule's pretty easy, considering it to start the season. Considering
like compared to the second half of it,
right? It gets harder kind of as the season goes on. Is his place on this team solidified in your mind? His role, his future on this team, even if this team excels without him.
I think so. He's if he's healthy.
That microphone up.
Yeah, get up in there.
Eat it, baby.
right.
There you go.
If he's healthy, he's one of the best perimeter defenders in the NBA.
Right,
as
sure.
we all know. And the Thunder have always had a defender at that spot. So, I mean, even if the guy could shoot, I mean, Thabo Sefolosha in the 2012-13 season, he actually shot pretty well from three. Other than that, I mean, it's been like they've just slotted a defender there and just kind of lived with whatever. So I think his role is probably solidified. The main issue is just that patellar tendon.
Right.
If it's right.
Yeah.
If he can come back 100%, because we were talking about it earlier. This is an injury you just don't even see in basketball all that often. I mean, it happens. It's not like it's something that happens, right? It's not an ACL.
Right.
It's not someone that tears their ACL, which seems to
Yeah,
happen.
just the way it
Is
happens.
your point
is
with
so
that
strange.
just that it's the sample size isn't there for us to really know?
Yeah, to
for
know like
sure.
how a guy comes back
Right.
off
Yeah.
of
No,
it. Like, you don't
I
really
totally agree.
Especially a guy that is his style of player. Like, he's a very unique player as
He
it
is a very unique player. It's
So-
a unique player with a really unique injury. That's an underrated point.
unique.
It's a thing
unique
that I
nuance.
feel like a lot of people
Thankfully.
are taking this injury and his recovery
granted,
very
maybe.
lightly,
Yeah.
very lightly, and kind of just expecting him to come back
Right.
and be Andre Roberson. And I admittedly have done the same.
So I actually, there's a guy that I talked to who actually works in sports rehab.
Oh, cool.
And I talked with him about the time that Roberson injured that patellar tendon, and from what he said, it's one of the worst injuries for an athlete to come back from, particularly
Terrific.
for basketball. Sorry,
Great.
You guys hear that?
You're good.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm back.
Yeah.
It's one of the worst injuries for an athlete to get, particularly a run and jump guy like Roberson in a sport like basketball.
A lot of running and jumping
Yes.
involved.
That's correct.
There have been guys who've come back from it well, but it's generally been in sports where there's more straight line. In basketball, it's a harder one to come back
Because
from
kind of the
because you're
like
you're
lateral
constant lateral movement.
Yeah.
The thing with just the last year or two, apparently, like there's been some developments in the way that they treat that stuff that I don't know what direction he went with his, surgery and rehab and all that kind of thing,
Right.
but that may make a difference.
Okay.
But I mean, it's a hard injury to come back from.
right.
I mean, that's what we were talking about too. Is that maybe when he says that he's wants to be himself by December, maybe he's just being realistic about the whole situation. Maybe Robertson is just being honest. Whereas normally I feel like you hear an athlete say, "I'm gonna be ready at the start of the season." You can bank on that,
Right.
But Robertson
Yeah.
doesn't want to
Yeah.
set any expectations.
And I mean, if you think about it, like he doesn't have a contract to worry about right now. He's set for a while. The team as a whole, like our core, is set for a while. So it's not like they have to rush him. And I think they're not going to do that at all. Like
Or they
in
got
my opinion.
31 wings.
Yeah, we got plenty. Just throw them, and Billy will just give each of them their time to start
Right.
because he loves just playing around.
But let's get to the news of the day, shall we? This is what we were going to start with, but we waited on you, and it worked out.
I
It worked.
appreciate
It
it.
actually
I
worked out
appreciate
perfectly,
it.
man.
did,
It
actually.
did.
Now that you brought us down on the Roberson situation.
He may just come
Very
back great.
depressing, but
So Woj reported today that right before the deadline, the Thunder waive and stretch Kyle Singler over the next 5 years.
yes, they did.
So David, I want to ask you: is this the right move in your mind?
It is. There's a caveat to Singler's contract, though, which we're going to get into the weeds a little bit in terms of salary.
Oh, we
here.
love the
Go
weeds.
it.
Okay.
This
Go
is
it.
the
To the
place for
weeds.
the weeds.
Get high.
So in the last collective bargaining agreement, the one that they just put into effect a couple years ago, they had a provision that, unlike in previous years, non-guaranteed salary no longer counted in trades. So that means if you trade a guy with a non-guaranteed salary, only the guaranteed portion of his salary is eligible for trade. The exception to that is contracts that were signed before the old CBA went into
Right.
effect. Kyle Singler was one of the last of those contracts and one of the biggest. So the Thunder,
It's a little embarrassing,
not
Sam.
talking out of school, but
Yeah.
they did their due diligence, and they're just the luxury tax savings versus waiting to see if they could get
Right.
something. But that might have been a possible trade ship in the future.
Right.
If the fact that they waived him now indicates to me either that the luxury tax savings outweighed it, or that there was just nothing really that
No suitors?
appealed.
Because do you feel like they were kind of trying to move him in this
Oh,
last
yeah.
couple
Oh,
months?
yeah.
Like I feel like that's what
They've
they've
been
been waiting. Like because
Presti doesn't
It-
like to just let people go for nothing.
yeah, but it was his. You couldn't do this wave and stretch after what, like next week, right?
Yeah, something like that.
So-
I don't remember the exact
Tomorrow.
date.
Oh, it's tomorrow.
It's tomorrow.
Oh,
Yeah, Friday.
Yeah. So
Yep.
today.
Tomorrow
makes
is the
sense.
deadline to stretch.
So that kind of leads me to believe like they've been trying to put something together to get him out of here on a trade instead.
Well, that's kind of what I think everyone assumed, and then regardless, I think is say they couldn't find a trade partner later in the year or whatever. Say they don't decide to stretch him,
Right.
and they can't find a trade partner, and they're stuck at this 15 guaranteed spots. I wouldn't surprise me if they would have waived him anyways down the road. So what are the benefits of waiving him now and being able to stretch him over not stretching him at all? I'm guessing the benefits are primarily money.
it's pretty much just money.
Just tax money, right?
Yeah.
And we were talking about this pre-pod, and I wanted to kind of get and I might just be totally wrong about this, but in my mind, the only way this is actually saving the Thunder money, like actually genuinely taking money off of the books that wouldn't have been there, is if somehow the Thunder are able to land underneath the cap in the next 5 years. Is that correct? Am I wrong there?
Not entire.
Okay.
Well, here's the thing. The tax goes in tiers.
Right.
Yeah. So like that $1 million, I mean, I haven't worked it out in terms of real money, what the difference would be.
Like the exact dollar amounts or whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
Like that's a level of like extrapolating the Thunder's future roster that I'm not quite with. But
Sure.
And they have, though. They've done this.
oh, sure. Yeah.
They've got a number guy.
No, these guys playing this stuff, like they plan for free agency 4 years in advance.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
But
That's crazy.
That seems like a nightmare, by the way.
Oh, God,
Anyways.
yeah. Oh, dude, forget that.
Anyways.
But yeah, I mean, in terms of real money, I think the biggest thing is I don't know if it saves them that much long term, but it does save them in the immediate term.
Right.
And if depending on liquidity too, like I don't know what the ownership situation is as far as like their personal, liquidity or the team's finances.
Right.
So there's a certain, like the way that it's paid out year over year, there is something that they put into place recently where you could take a larger than usual draw against your future.
Yeah, the loan thing kind of.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes a lot more
right.
sense.
That's right.
But which would, if they'd wanted to take advantage of that, they probably could have. But I guess the savings now outweigh it.
Yeah,
So, based on what you're saying, because I was curious about this, and I should have known this, but it's kind of hard to find out, honestly.
This is a weird one.
That dead money of Kyle Singler's in future years, that can still be taxed. Like, I know that it counts against the cap, but it will be taxed as well.
Yes.
Okay.
So anything that's on the cap is on the, well, by and large, anything that's on the cap.
That's what we were talking about, is because there's the trade exceptions and the two-way players stuff where you don't get taxed on some of it, right?
Yeah.
And so that's why we were like, I'm not sure if this will necessarily be taxed, but
I mean, a trade exception's not really like, it's not money on the books. It's like a placeholder. It's like
Right.
if you pull a book out of the bookshelf, there's a space there. Like it's not.
Sure.
yeah, exactly.
I get you.
No, I get you.
Is it where's this? I just
You want to do a
stumbled over
do-over?
that.
Let's do a do-over.
Let me try that again. Where does the Singler contract rank amongst Presti's blunders? Because hold on, wait for it. How long ago was this signed? Like 3 years ago? 3 years ago?
3 years ago.
Man, when
It's a 5-year
when this
contract.
happened, we had just started this podcast. And,
Yeah, that's true.
And we, embarrassingly enough, were for it.
We were
we
all
said,
about
you
it.
know what? This
I
deal.
was fine with it.
I think
Yeah.
most people were. This was
Because he was good before.
this was a deal. He seemed like a solid player. The cap spike was coming. I remember us talking about how, you know what, we're going to look at this 4 years down the road and say, wow, that is a cheap, solid role player that you're paying for.
Oh my God.
Incorrect.
He just nosedived instantly when he came to the Thunder. Is this the biggest mistake? I mean, you can save the James Harden trade talk here. Outside of that, is this the biggest mistake that Presti's made?
It might be. I mean, signing Ronnie Price.
Yeah, that's bad.
Ooh, that was bad. That was
Signing Ronnie Price and then
pretty rough.
cutting him and having his dead money on the books for 2 years, like right after, it was either like right before or right after training camp,
yeah.
in favor of was
Samaje
Christon. That's like, I would rather have Ronnie Price on my team than Samaje Christon.
That's what
Ronnie
was-
Price is probably like on a beach in
That was the
Jamaica
weird
somewhere.
part about
I'd
it.
still rather have him than Samaje
But
Christon.
that's what's crazy is there must have been something there that Presti was like,
Nope.
either he pissed him off, Ronnie Price pissed him off and was like, that guy didn't want. Samaje is earning this over you because he's working that hard. Something happened.
Ronnie
there.
Price is out there like, I should start over Russ. And you're like,
Get this guy out.
Hey,
He's
Ronnie-
riding on his shoes.
take him to somewhere with padded walls now.
Well, now we're at 14 with the waving and stretching of Singler. I think this is where most people. What?
Can we just for a second have a little moment for Singler? I feel
Yeah,
like
sure.
we need a cheers to him.
Let's do it.
Kyle Singler.
Cheers, bro.
If we talk over it, copyright won't.
Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, we'll be good. There we go. See,
we
we
can use this.
were just analyzing the song.
That was just off in the background. That was
Wow.
I had no
Turn
control
down.
over that.
Turn that down.
Very used. Very used.
Anyways,
Okay, down to 14 guys. I think this is where most people thought that the Thunder were going to end up. They wanted to be at least. Thunder aren't really a team that like to go into the season with 15 guys. They like the flexibility. Is this the team we're going to see on opening night in your mind, David? And if not, what are you expecting?
It may be. I think it is.
I'm with you there.
I won't rule anything out.
Yeah.
Given
I mean, there's
history.
like it's not like we can know, but I feel like
there's nothing obvious left though, right? I guess the most obvious thing would be if they end up cutting Nader or trading Nader, but that's about it.
Yeah, the only thing I could see is like a minor move. Maybe you move Abrinas and like another guy to get somebody
Like a vet
who's a little bit more of a two-way player.
Right.
like a sure thing kind of.
Yeah, I mean, like you need a shooter, and Abrinas is like the only non-Paul George shooter we have.
Yep.
But if you want to find a guy who's kind of more of a two-way player and still can be a shooter, maybe.
Yeah.
But I don't think we're seeing anything.
Yeah.
Of course, I mean, Melo was like right before training camp last year.
Sure.
So
Yeah, that's very true.
Who knows?
Do you think there's anything to them bringing back Corey Brewer this year? Do you think that's kind of sailed?
I think
people
that
keep
ship
kind
is
of bringing
sailed.
about, but I'm kind of with you on that. Like,
I think it's more of a thing too. Like I think the Thunder aren't in any rush to set the team for what it's going to be come playoff time. You know,
Agreed.
they know that they have the whole year, and buyouts are going to happen, and maybe Corey Brewer's available then.
Right.
If that's who they still really like, but there also might be another player that they really like at that time.
Here's the thing, like you have a bunch of like young athletic
Exactly.
wings who can't shoot. Why would you sign the
Another
old
one.
washed
That's all.
athletic?
This
wing
is
who
the
can't
guy
shoot?
right here.
Right.
So
Hey,
this
you-
is the model.
y'all
got a
aren't getting
preference
any
for the
minutes because this guy headband, love it.
He does run fast though. He
He
runs
does.
real fast.
And,
Yeah.
and I will say he's assertive too, to his credit. He's really assertive, and that's something that, you know, I think we all wished that Robertson was sometimes on offense.
He's getting there, man.
Brewer's not a super
Just kicking a
he's
guy
not
while he's
power,
down.
But I'm
Yeah.
just saying though, but you got to hear me, like Brewer like will go. He'll attack, and
Yeah,
I
no.
almost wondered if it was like kind of a message to Robertson, because one of the things that George and Westbrook both separately said when they got Brewer was, if he's going to shoot those threes with confidence, we're gonna pass him
Yeah.
the ball.
Well, you
Yeah,
said-
for sure.
And you just wonder if that was kind of like, hey, Robs, shoot the ball, dude. Or,
I don't think
or-
so.
You don't think so? You
Not with Robertson. I
Maybe
mean,
not.
I think that they're coming to the realization, like, look, this guy's
Don't
never
shoot
going
it.
to be able to shoot the
Yeah,
ball. It's,
sure.
it's just the fact. But you also got to credit Robertson in the fact that he's really improved as far as keeping the ball moving.
Yeah.
And doing the little things that a lot of people don't notice. Now, you're right. Corey Brewer is much more aggressive, has the ability to take the ball to the hole. But Robertson, if he does that, man, he's scared of the free throw line. He's scared of the free throw line.
before the injury, he was starting to be way more aggressive, cutting, doing the
Right.
backdoor stuff, like
Yeah.
you know, making
Billy
sure
started
that
to
he's-
figure out how to use him with this group.
He's usually in the right spot.
I looked at some of the synergy stuff for those guys, and like Brewer and Robertson were the main two like cut guys.
Yeah.
Like Brewer, I think I put it out on Twitter before they picked up Brewer, but like he approximated what Robertson brought on the offensive end, because runs the floor in transition,
Right.
gets out on cuts.
And that's something they missed when Robertson went down
Yeah.
big time.
Yeah.
Because you saw that
No one else moves.
even when they got a turnover too, they were struggling to beat teams on the break, where Robertson wasn't afraid to get out and run.
Right.
And Robertson also wasn't afraid to handle the ball in those situations. It wasn't a ton, but he would. And you saw Corey Brewer definitely wasn't afraid to handle to a
Even
fault.
though it was frightening
And
as
now,
hell.
and now
He
you
just
got
like,
a point guard that's
Yeah,
gonna
yeah,
run
he
the
just-
floor.
Sure.
Like gonna run the floor.
Yep.
And no offense to Felton, but Felton's an older guy. He's not running like Schroeder's gonna run. And so
He might
you-
run if there's a hamburger on the other side of the court.
so awful, dude. I feel so terrible. I feel so terrible for him.
That was good.
God.
That was really good. But one thing with Brewer the last season is that makes me wonder if the Thunder are done is you really saw how much Russell Westbrook trusted him.
Right.
True. Yeah.
He
Yeah.
That's a
I
rare
don't-
thing for us.
I
too.
don't know if it's a veteran thing. He's like, this guy's been around for a while. I trust him.
Well, and maybe it's like I see him getting in the spots that I need him to be in to get my assist.
could be that. Could be that a little bit. I don't
But
know.
he would constantly be in the right spot is
Right.
the idea there. But
All right. Anything else on Singler? We good there?
Ryan B says, "Happy Singler Purge Day, everyone."
oh,
It hurts to say, but it is. It
he's
is-
a great
but you know
guy.
what?
You
There is
guys,
He's
a
like a
great
nice
guy.
guy,
Yeah.
but
There is something to be said, though, I think, before we move on, about it does kind of feel like a wait. I mean, there is that's a lot of money on your books for a guy that's not, isn't and hasn't played. Well, it's not. Okay, but, I mean, the Thunder have shown a market ability to really see the best in someone for way too long.
But how does that affect Presti going forward? Because he really jumped into that extension with Singler, man. That happened quick.
Yeah.
They acquired him and they extended him quick.
Really dove in head first on that one.
Obviously, maybe they make that trade initially with the idea we can extend this guy, but
right.
I had heard, and I don't know how true this is, so take it with a grain of salt.
Absolute fact coming up.
But it was kind of like, they appreciated what he did in that super injury ravaged year, so they wanted to kind of pay him back a little bit. And the Thunder have done that sort of thing for guys when it's like, okay, you came up through the system, like Josh Eustace or like
they
Dakari
kind of reward
Johnson.
them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm totally down to reward, but like he
really
was a
5-year contract.
That dude was
5 years.
must have been making the whole team food every day, and like I don't know what he was doing. I really appreciate.
I remember at the time I thought that they were treating him as the next, like the wing version of Nick Collison going forward. That kind of
that's fair.
I don't know. That's kind of what I thought.
And it
they
is
were trying
also
to do.
fair to say, I don't think in hindsight, I mean, none of the optics showed this decline. He had been really great in Detroit, where I had him on 2 years in a row. I had him on.
I wouldn't say great.
No. I had him on my
compared
a little far.
compared to what he was.
trade bait.
Right. I don't mean
true.
great in the context of an actual
solid,
great player,
decent.
but I'm saying great for what his role would have been. A guy that was not a bad shooter from three.
He burned the Thunder a couple times.
He
which
had,
happens
and he was
if
great.
you're on another
and
team.
He was really great for Detroit.
Here's his numbers in Detroit: 8.7 points a game on 27 minutes a game. How's this dude playing 27 minutes?
I know, man.
Shot 43% from the field and 38% from three.
That
So
team was
hold on.
not good.
So yeah, that was
Not
my
good.
that was
Yeah,
my
that's not
question
great.
coming up. Was it that he was decent, which we thought when we got him, or was it just that Detroit was so bad that he just looked like he at least was adequate?
They were really bad.
They were really bad.
they were
I think
really
that was the
bad.
thing. I think we got duped.
They were bad, but I also think that there might have been an element of intimidation when Singler got to the Thunder.
yeah.
Yeah,
For
no, I
sure.
think that was
Where he's
for
like,
sure
oh my
a
God,
thing.
this team's good. This team's
Yeah, and
really
you're-
good. I'm a little scared.
The
Like Kevin Durant and
aspirations
Russell
go.
Westbrook are out here just destroying people, and I'm
Right.
like,
Russ is yelling at me constantly.
He
Dude,
slapped
when
me
you
in
go
the
from a
head.
team where there is zero expectation of you as a player, I mean, that's the reality. I'm not trying to be a jerk,
Yeah.
but the reality
that's
is
true.
in a lot of teams in the NBA, there is no expectation of you. That you can
Okay,
say all
jerk.
day, like, yeah, I'm a real jerk. But you can say all day long, like, oh, we think the squad is every bit as good. You know that there are guys that are like, we don't care. And to go from a team like that to an organization like the Thunder, who takes everything seriously, they don't phone
that
it
were
in.
fighting for a
with-
championship at the time, and you're
with
like,
with guys like Westbrook, like Durant, like Ibaka, like there you don't go in. And Perk was still on the team, I think, when they got him.
They
he
traded
actually
him.
moved with that trade.
Yeah, it was like a 3-team.
Oh,
was
okay,
the
that's
trade
right.
he
That's
left.
right.
was
You're
the
right. You're right.
Cantor
You're
trade
right. You're right.
too.
Cantor,
You're right.
Augustine.
Still, the I
Reggie.
guess what I'm saying is the culture at the Thunder was we're winning.
Oh, yeah.
We're kicking ass right now.
It still is,
And
I
you
hope.
go from you go from Detroit to something like that. I'm sure it's a shock to the gut. And so yeah, I don't know. I'm Rick
No,
Singler.
I have no
Rip
idea.
Singler.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I thought you said Rick. And I was
Rick.
very confused.
His name is Rick Singler.
I thought you were gonna say something
Rip.
about Rip Van Winkle.
He actually looks.
He's been playing.
Kinda looks like
it,
a
am I
Rick.
right?
All right, I want to ask you, David, about the Melo trade exception, because this is interesting. I think what is it, about 10, 11 million?
I think that's right. Yeah,
Somewhere around there?
because Schroeder's like 15.
Yep.
Yeah, so
Okay.
it's in the 10ish range.
11-ish. Yeah.
I don't think they use it.
So if they, I mean, they haven't used a trade exception in a while. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure,
Yeah.
and they're often not used. I mean, it's
Yeah,
not an
they
easy
expire
thing
all
to
the time.
use. But if they were going to use it, how might they use it? Like, how is an $11 million trade exception going to be used, or how could it be used?
I don't know the exact number off the top of my head, but New York wants to be a player in free agency next year, and Courtney Lee's money is close. I don't know if it's exact.
I think he's around 13, 14.
So,
you could do-
No, he's 12.
But with trade exceptions, can you include a player to make the money match, or you can't do that?
No, the trade exception is just basically like you have this much space and that's it.
That's
like
it,
you
right.
can't
You
combine,
can't combine it with a
the
player,
trade
right.
exception and a player.
Right.
So like,
And this
it's
is,
that
by the
and
way, this is
smaller.
really good because I think a lot of times.
And you can't attach a pick with it either.
You can attach a pick.
You just can't attach more money like in a player.
Right, like Abrinas. Like
yeah,
you couldn't be like
couldn't
11
say
plus Abrinas,
we're going to
let's-
send like the trade exception and like Timo
Timothy
or
Luwawu-Cabarrot.
You couldn't do that because you just have to use the trade exception and that's it.
I think what this dialogue is important because I think a lot of times for fans, like especially in the NBA, there's a weird thing like the cap's complicated. Like
It's
trades are
super
complicated. It's
Yeah.
okay to be like, I don't get it. Like
Yeah,
we're all.
I read about this stuff all the time, but I
Right.
don't retain 100%
Right.
of it.
Yeah,
you know?
it's
I learn
lawyer
new stuff,
stuff.
every week.
Yeah.
Yep.
Every week.
Yeah.
And
It's thick, man.
Like if you look
it's
through the thing,
insane.
it's just like written by lawyers and it's so confusing. So when a typical NBA fan is hearing about this stuff, it's hard to take that in and understand it all. So.
Yeah. No,
Well, and a lot of times they make you feel stupid if you don't know.
Yeah, and that's-
like,
Yeah.
dude, people,
I hate-
you're
Are
Are
only
you
gonna
sure
get-
that's not just yourself making
A
yourself
lot of
feel
times
stupid?
myself, I feel stupid when I don't know all this stuff, and so I'm glad I'm here
Dude,
so I can
there's
hear
so
all
much
this
stuff you just can't. Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
What were you gonna
know.
say? I cut you off.
Well, I was going to say, like, even today, like, about the Singler wave, because his last year was non-guaranteed, I was curious why it was 5 years instead of 3. And so I had to go and ask, like, Keith Smith and Ryan Bernardoni, who do this stuff as well. But, like, we all kind of check each other because,
You kind of have to.
you
with
kind of
this.
have
Yeah.
to.
yeah.
Because it's so complicated. Like, the Kings, like a professional basketball
They don't
team
know anything about it.
misread the collective bargaining agreement. Like, teams make mistakes.
But
on
I mean,
this
they
stuff.
don't even know how to make a trade call. So
I mean, it's
true.
The Kings
point.
have been a horror show for years. So,
but still,
yeah,
it's a great
but-
point.
Yeah.
It's that complicated.
So you don't see them using this Melo trade exception, but an example would be maybe the Courtney Lee thing if the Knicks are just trying to get off that money.
Yeah, or maybe like I don't know. I've had my eye on Alec Burks for a while because he's a guy. I mean, and it's interesting. There's a guy a couple years back who did a piece on trade relationships. So, like, if you look at the teams in the league, there are certain groups of GMs or front office executives that trade with each other more often than not.
Interesting.
And like the Jazz, the Thunder, the Bulls, the Celtics.
Yeah,
Those
and-
poor sons of bitches.
Yeah.
Every time.
I still don't know how we got Taj Gibson off them.
Dude,
but yeah.
Amazing. It would have been nice to re-sign him, but anyways.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's the Jazz, the Nuggets, the Thunder, the Celtics, and the Bulls.
Magic.
I think the Magic were with
have kind of popped in there a
Hennigan,
lot. But yeah,
but,
Right.
but since Hennigan's here in OKC again, and like, I don't know if that relationship's still there.
Sure.
right.
So
Probably
Interesting.
not after you traded him.
But yeah, it's
Burks-
kind of a thing with GMs where they kind of like you find your
Yeah.
guys you can work with, and there's other guys you're kind of like, yeah.
But the Jazz have several guys that, like, if I was looking at, reading the tea leaves on the Thunder, like, I would look at the Jazz and I would look at the Nuggets because both of them have a surplus of wings.
Right.
They both have some guys that they might find expendable. I think I don't know how the Jay Crowder thing is going to go, if they're just going to stick with Derek Favors or if they want Crowder long term. Cephalosha obviously is another one that the Jazz have. I don't
and
know
how wild would that be?
That'd
Yeah.
be weird.
or like the Nuggets. It's hard to say like what their
Which ones, which-
guard forward rotation is
Yeah.
going to wind up. Like Malik Beasley. Maybe Malik Beasley comes available, and the Thunder would jump on.
The
hey,
Thunder want
young
another
wing.
under average wing.
Yeah.
They're just looking to really stockpile.
If we could
them.
just have 40 of these guys sitting around,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that'd be great.
Well, I think that's kind of the plan here, right?
Yeah.
Well, not to have a bunch of under average.
No, but one of
below
them's got to
average.
work out.
You're right. Maybe one of them shows themselves or whatever.
Well, there was-
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, Sam Vecini did a pod the other day. Sam's one of the better draft evaluators out there on NBA stuff, and he did one with Cole Zwicker, who's also another good draft analyst. They went through all the Thunder's young guys, and they made the point like they've stocked up on a bunch of like high upside gambles,
Which is
Yeah.
what they do.
which is what
Yeah,
they do.
that's kinda their-
You're not gonna have a high pick for a long time,
Sure.
so you're just like you're maximizing your upside and just rolling the dice.
Yeah, it's,
Yeah,
play,
that-
it's
that
playing
is-
aggressive.
That's kind of the move you do when you've traded off your
Yeah.
draft picks. Like
It's like if you're playing the stock market, you're doing it aggressively. Right?
bulls and bears and
Oh
stuff.
yeah, all that stuff.
Stocks.
I know so much about it. I don't want to get into it, but I know
Trust
so
me,
much
I'm
about
an
it.
Really
expert.
good trader.
So good at it. I'm good at inside trading.
Oh.
Okay, let's move on.
SEC's about to take a look
Before
at
we
us.
get into our next, our big chunk,
Uh-huh.
a couple of housekeeping notes. One, Brian Davis's Ghosts says that he's throwing a Kyle Singler is gone party this weekend. Who's coming? I could probably stop by. For
I could make it.
I'll have a
actually.
drink. I'll probably come by. Also,
If
just
he's
to-
actually a ghost.
Yeah.
If not, I'm not.
we're out. I'm there for the ghost.
The novelty.
That's right.
The novelty of it.
Also, just want to throw out to our listeners, we are giving away a full-service haircut and style from Scissors and Scotch. At the
That
end
is
of the
true.
pod, we're going to basically have you guys, if you guys will review our podcast in the iTunes library or the iStore.
Yeah, stick around until the end,
Right.
and when we're doing our outro and everything, we'll give the full details there
Yeah.
on how we're gonna do this
But
giveaway.
it's going to be worth it. This haircut
because we
that we're
still don't
giving away
have
is
we
awesome.
still don't have the details completely worked out, so we're gonna do this at the very end
Yeah.
here.
We like to
We're-
do
we're
things
gonna-
on the fly.
Yeah, we're
It's
gonna,
worth it, though. You'll
how
want to
we
try to
operate.
win this. Obviously, you have to be local to win it. 'cause
All right, let's
you
move
won't
on.
Get it.
I want to get you guys ideas, thoughts, beliefs on some not so obvious keys to a successful season. And by that, I mean none of this, well, Russ needs to play well. None of that.
Yeah.
No PG
No shit.
needs to be good.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Right,
Those
right.
are obvious.
Right.
Some not so obvious ones. But before we do that, I think we have to kind of decide what a successful season is for this team.
Very good point.
Last season, I think most people would agree, was unsuccessful. At least it was disappointing.
Yes. Even Sam Presti has said disappointment.
Successful season. Anyone, what you got?
Third seed.
First thing that comes to mind.
Third seed.
Third seed.
And then, I
At
mean, you
least
got to
get out of the first round of the
at least
playoffs.
out of the first round.
If you don't do
We're
that,
talking about the whole season, then
Whole
yeah,
season as a
obviously
whole.
Western Conference Finals. I mean, it's got to be. You don't want.
I think
For me, it's
second
Western.
round.
For me, it's Western Conference Finals. This team, depending on who they play, if they play like the eventual champ or something, or they have like a really hotly contested season, or series with somebody crazy in the second round, then maybe.
Sure.
But like if they like lose in 6 to like. I don't know, to
The
like the
Jazz?
Spurs or something. Like, I'm just saying, like, that's not, in my opinion, that's not that successful. That's a moderately average for
Yeah,
this team.
it's hard to set an exact thing now
Right.
because
Yeah, yeah.
you don't have the complete
you
context.
don't even
But
know what the team's going to be like.
But it is fair. Like I don't think you're crazy for saying it has to be a Western Conference Finals appearance to be successful. But the good thing is that we have 3 years of this of the
right.
Paul George
That
cycle.
was going to be my point. Is like if PG had signed a 1-1 or something like that.
Yeah.
Right,
and
yeah.
then they didn't make the Western Conference Finals. Yeah, that's a disaster.
You got time.
Oh,
I'm
no.
looking at this
But
in terms
this,
of their
like,
ceiling, I think.
But also to counter the you got time. Well, Russ is 30.
Yeah.
Do you have time?
Yeah.
He's on the
I mean-
backside here. He's on the backside of the mountain, as they say. No one says that.
They do. No, they say that.
Did they say that?
I heard this a bit.
It's
I
true.
say that.
And the back end of his contract is
Very expensive.
Mm-hmm.
It's very
High.
expensive.
Dude's gonna be making $45 million a year.
That is a good time.
Boy.
So, where are you at on this, David? You second round or you Western Conference Finals like Jacob here?
I mean, like the West is gonna be rough.
It's
Yeah.
more of a bloodbath than it was
It's
last
worse. Like every year we say,
Quite a
can
bit.
it get worse?
year. Did.
It did.
Thanks, LeBron.
It's like I don't know how good the Lakers are gonna be, but like I never count out a LeBron team. Like
Exactly.
you just can't. And so like you've got, I mean, the Jazz are pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, they should
The
they should only
Warriors,
be better.
Obviously, the Rockets, obviously. I mean, like it is a stacked conference. I would
Yeah.
not. I'd be
Denver
like,
should be better.
Yeah, the Nuggets
Denver,
aren't like a place you
how
just
did
go
Denver
win there.
miss? You
Yeah,
like
right.
got there's a good team that's going to be out of the playoffs this year.
Yeah.
Like a
Pel-
really good team.
Pelicans could be Denver, could be Minnesota, could be the Spurs. Yeah,
Could be the Lakers.
could be the Thunder.
I mean, I don't think the Lakers make the play. Not the Lakers. I don't.
Oh,
sorry,
you
sorry,
heard
sorry,
it here
sorry. No. I don't think the Spurs. They could have a pretty good chance to miss.
Yeah.
We forgot to tell you that we just brought you here so that we could capture you on a hot take like that, and that we're only putting out that
Cut
sound
it,
bite.
pare
Yeah.
it down, send it out.
You heard it here
Slam
first.
Magazine picks it up.
Yeah.
Put it on the scroll on ESPN.
I'm here to say that I'm writing a piece this week about just some predictions for the seeds, and I think the Lakers will be fighting for the 8th seed. I really do.
Well, that's the thing. You could
Just
be
saying.
fighting for the 8th seed simultaneously while you're fighting for the 4.
That's
Yeah,
true.
It happened
know?
last year.
Or the 3rd. I mean,
3
literally,
through
there was
8, just like-
there was a period in time.
Right. All right. So we've established that the Thunder need to be a top 4 seed to have a successful season. Probably. I think we would all agree with that.
I like that.
Need
As
to-
I like
I like
that
that.
as a
I
barometer.
like that.
That's good.
Okay. Give me some keys here, guys. Some not so obvious keys. Who wants to fire one off first?
So we kind of already talked about one that I wrote down earlier, and a big thing to me is that one of these guards, one of these guys that are just hanging out here, have to show up and be reliable.
Show up and show out.
Abrinas,
Yeah.
Ferguson, Diallo, TLC, Nader, someone out of that group.
You kind of thinking someone needs to come up, step up, be a guy that you can rely on to play 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to be able to at least be a bench guy that we can get some scoring out of.
Who else got one?
I got one.
What you got?
Pat.
Yeah.
You have got to. Pat has got to be.
That's
solid.
one of mine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now
There's
it's
going to be
David's.
some
We're
common
on the
ones.
same
Now it's
wavelength.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so just needs to be the guy you thought the Thunder were getting last year.
Yep.
Yep.
I mean, like Raptors fans said to Thunder fans when Pat came, they're like, he's not quite the guy that you think he is.
Right.
Right.
Like,
He's frustrating.
He's a good shooter, but he's real flaky and it's on low volume.
And he's
So,
passive.
yeah.
Yeah. He's a very passive guy.
But like if he can hit from outside and bring the things that he does, like he's a guy that doesn't stop the ball. If you watch him, it just keeps moving.
Yeah.
He'll throw it right back to the point guard. Right after he gets it past to him, he's right back at you.
Well, I mean,
But which
even
is-
that, or like
but he
if
does move it
if he
around, though.
pings it around, like he's a good ball mover. He's a good plus minus guy generally.
Yeah.
I think like because I don't think Grant starts
No, I'm in complete agreement with you on that.
Yeah.
unless like Grant comes into training camp and all of a sudden like.
Just obliterates everyone.
Well, no, like
Shoots the ball well.
He shoots the ball from the corner, and he's shooting like 40% from
Even
three.
then, though, he still might be a better fit on the bench because
'Cause you
of
want that
what
scoring.
you referred to earlier is Patrick Patterson's ability to keep that ball moving.
Right.
And that's something
Yeah.
very valuable to that starting unit, in my
That's
opinion.
true. Yeah,
and
yeah.
like the way I wrote that point down for me was that Patrick Patterson is able to play well with the starters.
Yep.
Like
Yeah.
that he fits well with that group and it works.
And as far as shot attempts go, like Melo on paper seemed to fit pretty well with the starters as far as being the catch and shoot guy.
Right.
But Patterson, 64% of his field goal attempts last year were from three.
Yeah.
That's kind of what you want. You
Yeah.
kind of want him standing out there while
Yeah.
Russ and PG go to work and Adams has the middle to work off. And if he shoots the ball well, like you're talking about here, David, that opens it up again for Adams
Yeah.
to have a big season offensively, which is a worry that we kind of alluded to last week, right,
Yeah.
Jacob?
Yeah.
How much credit does Melo get for providing spacing for Adams to have his kind of breakout scoring season?
Yeah.
That's TBD, obviously,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it'll be interesting.
So one of mine is this was overharped a little bit, and so I've been hesitant to talk about it a lot. But I think that Billy Donovan's development as a coach of this squad is huge to a successful season, and I think
a
I
good
think
one.
that I think
I like
that breaks
that.
down into 2 points. One, I love his refusal to be handcuffed to really specific rigid lineups. But it can't be overdone because when you have this deep of a roster, as far I say depth, not indicative necessarily of talent, but of potential talent, because we don't know about that two guard position a lot. You cannot be throwing a new guy out there every night because at some point
Find some
somebody's got to be
consistency.
the guy. You can't. Yeah, TLC might have a great night, and then Ferguson. I mean, at some point you can't. You've got 4 or 5 guys that could all potentially be
Right.
the guy. I think that's huge. I think having consistency at the in the rotation is huge.
So to follow up on that,
Yeah.
Abrinas, we've talked about it a lot on here,
Right.
was the guy last year that was probably the most toyed with minutes wise.
Right.
Oh,
Never
for
knew
sure.
what was coming that night.
Right. Yeah.
Who's that guy this year? Because there's gonna be one, man. There's gonna be one.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can call some of these young guys toyed with because I think
They got to be toyed with a little
well,
I
bit.
think
I'm
you
saying,
can
like,
if
I'm
their
saying-
playing time is inconsistent, like you're talking about. It's hard to find a rhythm
it's-
like that
it
if
could
you're
be
young.
Ferguson. Honestly, it
Yeah.
could be
Could be.
Ferguson.
I could
because-
see it being Ferguson, actually.
Because last season, the reason we felt like Abrinas' minutes were toyed with is because he was naturally the guy that should, quote unquote, be getting the minutes because
he's also
the
really
tenured
terrible on defense. For a
Yeah,
while.
right. And so
Yeah.
you just wondered what was going on there. I think this season you kept Ferguson. You didn't trade him. He gained weight. Like these things that you hope indicate future success. If he doesn't see consistency, you probably think like, man, what's the deal? So yeah, I think consistency in rotations. And my second point with Billy Donovan is I think you have to try. The Thunder will never be a Spurs team. They'll never have the shooting to be the Warriors.
Yep.
You have to try to implement some kind of offense. And maybe he does already, and maybe last season was just a dumpster fire for the 19 other reasons that were the cause
Carmelo.
before him. Well, I mean, yeah,
I'm just
Carmelo.
kidding.
But I'm just
A
saying,
little.
like, He was definitely one of them.
Oh, yeah.
And so, but this season, you don't really. I mean, you've got long-term stability. You've got a lot of the same guys back. You've got a lot of tools and the things that were hurting you before. You have to try to. I mean, you got to run an offense. You can't just. No one.
That's a good call. Run an offense.
Right. So, I mean,
I
that's
actually-
It's basketball.
I actually really like your
sounds
points.
stupid, but like
No.
we didn't do it, and we haven't done it in
Yeah.
like several years.
Here's the
So-
thing, man, is that you're going to constantly be able to pick that, I think, as long as Russell Westbrook is your point guard.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to run a system with that.
But here's
That
my
is
thing,
your
though.
system.
Yeah.
Your system is
Just-
Russell Westbrook.
But
He's
here's
going
my
really
thing.
fast.
Is that because it's the only thing that works, or is that because we've had two coaches and both have not? I mean,
So-
Billy
Yes.
Donovan, right? And that's what I'm
Exactly.
saying. Like,
but
could we
here's
try?
the alternative. Look at the way Russ plays. Do you want him?
You want to pull that back?
No, I don't want to pull it
How
back. But
do
I
you?
think
How
could,
do you pull it back with him still being effective? I think that there's a you can
There's a very
to a certain
fine-
extent.
there's a
Off
fine
ball.
line.
Fine
there.
line.
There's a very
That's
fine
what I
line.
was looking
off
for
ball
there.
movement? That's what I think.
That's-
Let
yeah,
Russ
that's
do
on
his
Russ,
thing.
though. That's
well,
on Russ.
That's
true,
on
but I'm
Russ.
saying a lot of guys, dude. There's a lot of standing around by PG and Melo
Yeah.
last year too,
Yeah.
and I'm
Everyone
saying
stood around.
everybody move. If Russ
right.
is gonna do his thing, let him be the terror that's just looming. But Patterson, you got to move. Grant, you got to move. Roberson, you got to move. Like I think when these guys start cutting, they start shedding their guy, they start fighting through picks, they start getting open. I think then you have a semblance of like, oh, there's something happening here, even with Russell being pretty much the freight train that he is.
Well, that's where I think, in theory, the getting Melo out of town could
Agreed.
potentially
Agreed
help.
with
Could potentially help.
I
gonna
think
be
it'll
one of
help
my-
some.
That's my biggest point. Of,
We'll see.
That's my successful point of the season is we don't have Melo anymore.
All right, I got one for you. Nerlens Noel being capable of playing 20-plus positive minutes on a regular basis.
I like that.
Here and there, where Adams can have some games where he only has to play 25 minutes. That's where I'm at here.
I like this face.
Uh-oh.
So I think that's important, but I don't think it's as important as you might think because of how well Grant played last year
Sure.
as
Right.
the backup five.
I think that this just helps everyone, including Grant.
Yeah.
But
Like
I think,
if that could happen, it's a
because-
pretty big deal for Grant because then he can kind of
I think it
snipe
adds.
around.
I think it adds to your versatility because if you need to, if you're like, you know what, we have so many things we can throw at you now because not only do we have Adams, we got Noel who's good, and now we have Grant who can play that five, who will stretch you out more than Noel will. Obviously, he's not going to shoot three, but we have Patterson that can do that. It's just something. If you have a guy that you bring in like Noel and he proves to be as good as everyone thought that he maybe could be,
Yeah.
I think that helps a lot.
Yeah,
I mean,
I agree with you.
I agree. The Thunder are going to be throwing a ton of bricky lineups out there. So
Yep.
It's going to be hard to avoid.
Yeah. I mean, so like if you're throwing Grant Noel out there, like Grant has to shoot well, like
Yeah.
at least solid, or else you've
What
got,
percentage is that to you? What's well? 36%, 37%?
yeah.
35, I'm good with
Like,
that.
35 is fine.
Okay.
I mean, like it's not like what you'd want,
Right.
but you know,
But if
you
he could just make people
just
respect
get the
it.
respect.
Am I crazy in thinking that towards the end of the season, I started thinking like, can Grant kind of knock him down sometimes?
Well, the year
Like-
before last, he shot 37%.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So-
it's
He can do it.
that sort of thing doesn't stabilize until like a really really large sample. If you're looking at it statistically,
Yeah.
the only person who's ever done this is going back a ways on this in my memory, so bear with me. But I think it's Steph Curry is the only one who's ever shot enough threes in the season to like statistically, be a
Like it actually
significant
makes sense.
sample size.
Gotcha.
You can look at the
Interesting.
motion and say that.
Yeah,
but,
for
like,
sure. I mean, at this point, with how many Grant or how little Grant shoots the ball, you can't really
Yeah.
form a pattern.
Like,
You know,
is that
the-
really his
You
percentage?
got to look
Probably
at
not.
like career percentages, kind of.
And then there actually is
the
a
way they shoot it.
there is a pattern within that too because he's gone every other year. He shot the ball well from three in a weird way
And then
for
that
Grant. But
doesn't-
like you said, it doesn't really. You can't put much stock into that because he doesn't shoot enough to put stock.
Ryan B on YouTube says, "Where's the guest laptop? The poor dude just has a sad little piece of paper in front of him."
It's in my car.
Maybe we
He
should.
was in a rush.
No, we should provide. We'll
Where's
get.
your-
We'll
you
get
didn't
a.
bring in-
We'll get a.
It's in my
guest
car.
laptop.
Like I've got mine in my car.
No,
I thought you were
it's on
supposed
us.
to.
The impetus.
I thought you were supposed to bring people.
You're right.
laptops
You're
out.
right, dude.
I'll
I'm
kick
sorry.
one. I'll kick one off, and we'll go in the other direction this time for another not so obvious key. Thunder overachieved from the 3-point line.
That'd be nice. But
Now, I think this is an obvious one that I'm kind of forcing into this category.
just scratched out that not so.
But God, man, this would help. You know?
Yeah, it sure
Now,
would.
are we talking about overachieving compared because we underachieved last season? So are you talking about better than last season
Well,
or better than what?
I think if you set an over under, and I should do this for a show that's coming up in the future, we're not going to get to it today, but I think I set it at, what do I have? Yeah, the ranking in the season, they were 24th last year in 3-point percentage, and I set the over under at 25.5 this year. And I think
Oh God,
that on paper, man, that's kind of what you're looking at.
you
here.
lost a 3-point shooter in Melo, and
If you're top 20,
who else is going to shoot them?
I think Patterson will help that number. I think
Hopefully.
he'll get more.
he should.
I think Abrinas will hopefully get the run.
Hopefully.
He should.
But those are guys you can't say they're gonna do
I
it.
just don't know that you can look at Melo. I know he made threes, but
mean, they
when you're
weren't
talking
very
about
good
where
percentage.
was it the percentage that we were ranked at, or in threes made?
No, yeah, the percentage ranking.
I mean, I don't know that
the
Melo's
NBA.
was. I mean, dude, Melo was not automatic from three
No,
by
no,
any
not at
means.
all.
No.
And so,
a lot of clankers.
I'm not saying he was. I'm just
so
saying.
well, you're saying like, well, we lost a 3-point shooter. I'm like, I mean, we lost a guy that would literally shoot the 3 ball, but
Every
like,
time he got it.
But if you've got guys, you've got those 18 shots going to some of these other guys that could find rhythm with Patterson and with Abrinas and maybe some of these younger guys and maybe Grant's shot develops like what David was
yeah,
saying.
but these are a lot of maybes.
Well,
Yeah.
what I'm
Giving
saying,
me- and
my,
that- and that's
well,
my whole
what my
point
point
here.
is that I would take the over. I would say we probably will overachieve there.
I hope so.
That'd be good. But overachieving to me would be if you can land somewhere around middle of the pack, 3-point percentage.
Just be like
Oh, it's huge. That'd
20,
be huge
20
for
and
the Thunder.
18th.
Be huge for the Thunder.
Pretty much. And I honestly, like, I don't think that the Thunder ever are a high-level 3-point shooting team,
No.
like, with the present construction.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you've basically got PG and Abrinas that are shooters, and then
Well, I think the thought behind forming the team is this is a team that's going to come up with 50-50 balls and get
Yeah,
those little
100%.
scrappy points.
It's
They're
all-
going to get more
it's all-
scrappy points than any other team in the entire league.
all
And then
eff-
they're going to be able to defend the 3 better than any team in the league on paper. In the
it's
way
all
they build the
athleticism,
team.
effort.
You're
and
not going to
defense.
outshoot
Yeah.
the Warriors. You're
Yeah.
simply not going to do it. There doesn't exist a lineup that's better
Sure.
shooting, like even
in history of basketball.
Sure.
I mean,
Yeah.
maybe. So
Pretty
I mean,
much.
it does. And again, the resume is there. You watched the series with the Warriors, and some of that was without. Now we'll have without Melo, which was a huge way that the Warriors were able to attack the Thunder was they would isolate the mismatch on Melo, and now Roberson will be back hopefully. So yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily know that the shooting. I mean, I feel like
Shooting's going to be big.
it's going to be big.
I'm just
but
gonna tell you right now,
No,
it's gonna
no,
be big.
it's going to be big. But I don't know that Presti's thinking like, how do we compete shooting wise with the Warriors? Because
No,
no,
that's not it.
It's gonna stay afloat.
We just got to get some.
You can't be
like you
firing
said,
up
middle
20
of the pack.
bricks in a
Yeah,
row.
middle of the pack. I think you're right. I think
Yeah.
that's the goal.
Who's got one more?
So I got one more, but it's a little obvious, and we've talked about it a little. But it's
Let's skip it then.
It's
Let's do it quick. We don't have to.
it's
we don't
basically
have to.
the idea of Russ and Schroeder sharing the floor together.
Yep,
Like if
I
they
had
can
that
do that,
exact same one.
Like I think that's gonna be huge for
Yeah,
us.
that'd be
So,
awesome.
If they're good enough together where they can close games
Yep.
here and there with them, that says a lot about how those two are working together.
Agreed.
I agree because that was my point.
You want to do some social media inquiry?
Yeah, let's do them.
Let's do it.
Social media inquiries.
What we got? Wait, that's me, right? It's
Yeah,
my role today.
You're doing it. So.
Oh God, our normal readers. From Thunder Up. I'm not gonna read his @ It's got a curse
don't.
word in it. I don't.
Dude, we don't curse on this
We've
pod.
never
dude.
cursed
I don't
here,
say bad words.
except for every podcast.
This
Who
is
is your favorite role player in Thunder history?
Morrow's got to be up there, right? I mean, just
Oh.
as far as beloved.
He's a good fan favorite, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm talking about fan favorite.
It's hard to go against Ibaka here. If
Oh,
he's considered a
Serge?
role player, I mean, he's probably the
he
best
was
role player in
Probably the
Thunder history.
best.
Towards the end, but like before, he was one of the big guys. I don't know. I don't think I could ever call him.
Yeah.
a role
If
player.
not, if we're going lower scale here,
Talking about
what about Derek Fisher?
I was gonna say Derek Fisher. I think as far as like being beloved and being a guy that actually made an impact in the play, it's got to be Derek Fisher. For me, I think it's Derek.
It's Morrow for me.
Yeah.
I like
love
Amo a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with
Whole
you on that.
Daquan Cook, anybody? No,
Eh,
just
Yeah.
kidding.
no, thank
It's
you.
all right.
Eric Maynard.
Yeah, Maynard was
Maynard
fun.
was a beloved fella.
You could even go with Perk just because if you like him. Like
Sebastian
Well,
Telfair.
Canner's not necessarily a role
Nick,
player.
you go Collison. That's an
Collison's
easy
probably
one
the
for
guy.
a lot of
Yeah.
people.
I just feel like
Collison's the guy.
I feel like if they were once part
Everyone's
of
the guy to Jason. You say that's it.
That's
the
the
one.
guy. It's Collison.
Anybody
Canner's
got
the
anything
guy.
else? I'll switch it.
Next is OKC Thunderama @ OKC Thunderama. If Jimmy Butler is available, would you consider trading Adams for him? Wolves wouldn't want Adams, so it would have to be something like Adams to Boston, Butler to OKC, or Brown plus salary to the Wolves. So this guy's basically saying, if it became available and you can get Jimmy Butler and Adams had to go out the window, it'd probably be a 3-team trade. Would you do it?
David.
Why wouldn't Tibbs want Adams?
I guess
Because of
Cat.
but make him a 4.
Yeah, I mean, I think Tibbs would do that before he. Yeah,
Tibbs,
Either way,
Tibbs loves
that's not the
defense.
point of the
Tibbs
question,
loves
though.
defense.
He
That's
loves
what-
defense.
Yeah.
It'd be tough, but I kind of want
Plus,
to.
he'd be like, I'm playing Adams 44
I don't think
minutes.
I
a night.
would.
I don't think I would.
so tired.
I don't think I would, and here's why. Because Butler is. Well, I don't know.
Paul George.
He and Russ might actually get on, but like he's difficult to like. He and Tibbs get on because they're both like cut from the same cloth. They're both
Yeah.
like maniacally competitive, and like
Sounds a lot
he
like
has a hard.
Russ.
Dang, you're
but
like
he has a
convincing
hard-
me that he should come here, actually, as you're saying.
But he has a hard time getting on with the other guys.
Right.
Sure.
The people
So,
that
like,
don't try as
yeah,
hard.
it's like if you don't try as hard, like you were persona non grata,
Or
Yeah, but he's never going to have...
like Cat and Wiggins.
You're not going to have that issue with Russ and with Paul George.
You don't
like-
have that issue with Russ and Paul George, but you
It's
might
the
with some of
other
the other
people.
guys.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
It's
I don't
hard.
know.
I bring us out there getting married.
It's
How
hard-
could you?
It's-
Also, he's not going to get the touches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He won't, but it's one of those things that it's hard to turn down a wing like
If
him.
you could have those 3 guys
You
on the
have
same
options?
team, that's pretty
Yeah,
incredible.
it's a
like
little
that defense.
a little scary offensively. You have him and PG operating in the same space quite a bit.
Right.
You'd have a lot to figure out. You'd obviously be stuck with Nerlens Noel as your starting center, probably.
Yeah.
There's some hurdles
The
here,
Warriors
but
need
you
to
also
work
have
with
It could be
Julia.
cool.
you also have Paul George, Russell Westbrook, Jimmy Butler, and Andre Roberson as your wing defenders in this scenario.
Yeah, which is filthy.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough to penetrate, number one, and
man.
arms everywhere, right?
Cannot get it in there.
At Aaron, at @Yount_15. Would you be as excited about an NBA championship if KD helped us win it, or would it mean more if we did it without him? This is kind of a would you rather question.
Wait, that's a real question?
Yeah, that's an obvious one there.
The second one.
Yeah.
Do it without him.
Would you rather do
Like, if
something
maybe-
cool?
Maybe he's saying, like, previously, would you rather has already have won one?
Oh.
Maybe? I don't know.
Well, either way,
Be more clear, Aaron.
either way, if the only way we could get one was if he came back and that happened,
Sure.
and it happened, I'd be fine with it because I just kind of want it.
It would be nice to get one without him.
But if we could get it without him instead, yes.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of just groveling
bajillion%
to do.
Huh?
He's got a lot of groveling to do if he comes back. I don't know. It would be really hard. His PR clearly is either ineffective or he doesn't listen to it. So I don't know what he would do to.
Oh, dog alert.
I don't know
Shit.
what he would do. I don't know.
Next,
Caught me
Dakota
off guard.
Baker at Bearded Thunder 1. If you could get rid of any Thunder jersey, which one would it be and what color scheme would you replace it with?
We all know which one it would be. I mean, it's already gone, but
No, I think it would be an
The
active
current one. The Blues
It would be the blues for me.
also.
Not the statements, the road blues or whatever they're
yeah,
called.
all right, maybe.
The regular road blues.
Yeah.
yeah, those look great.
Yeah. And I don't mind. I don't mind the color. I just hate the full-on Oklahoma City on
it's
there.
too much.
Too many letters.
OKC.
Yeah,
Thanks.
but OKC on there. Or I wouldn't mind ditching those, going back to like sunset style. You already have a blue with the statements. Throw those in as your road blues.
I'm cool with that.
That's where I'm at on that.
yeah, I see.
I wish the statements would become an actual full-time jersey and that logo be our actual logo, please.
Yep. Same.
Our logo sucks.
Brandon Lloyd at Brandon Lloyd 33. I'm going to my first Thunder game this year. What to expect and any tips, period.
It's gonna be so
That's
awesome.
That's not how to say that. I think he's asking what should I expect? Do you have any tips? Parking? How early to show up? This is-
Parking, go down to Main Street parking.
Yeah, you shoot a free throw for free parking.
You pay $5, and if you park in a parking garage, you come back down, you shoot a free throw. If you make it, they give you $5 back, and it's awesome.
What?
Rims bent.
The
I'm
rim
sorry,
is
what?
a disaster.
You
and
can
also,
shoot a free throw for free parking?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Where?
it's great. Main
What?
Street, Main Street parking.
No.
It's on Main Street.
Yeah, no, it's the name.
So also,
What street?
Main.
They do put the goal where the sun is shining through the glass backboard into your eyes. It's
That-
a little
Horse shot.
And the wind is typically just whipping through.
Oh
There.
yeah, But I've made a couple.
But if it's your first game and if you're of age, get there early. Have a beer or two at the bar.
And if you get there early, you can go watch shoot around and stuff.
can
And
do a little
if you
bit of
go
that.
down to the lower levels, you can actually go in and get your stuff signed sometimes by players if you get there a little early.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that, but that
My
sounds
friend's
good.
mom does that all the time.
Plus, you'll find parking real early. Just get there and enjoy the whole experience, man. It's
Drink it in.
It's the best thing to do in the city. Even as Oklahoma City is continuously growing, getting better and better and better and better every
Nothing
single
will
day,
ever compare to a Thunder.
It's still the best thing to do.
It's hands down.
Lucas Miller at Echelon Copy.
Hey.
For you to officially hit the panic button next season, what needs to happen?
No, I don't
Granted-
like this question at all.
I do like it.
Well, let me finish it. Granted, this clearly isn't something I'm rooting for, but still, I'd be interested in hearing your thoughts. Hashtag Thunder Up.
Anyone with a panic button?
Well, let's
If Roberson
Ooh, that
comes
was-
back, gimpy, and nobody can fill in,
Oh God.
Yeah.
it's gonna be bad.
If they're sitting around 6, 7, 8 at All-Star break, I'll be a little worried.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because the schedule
Robertson-
gets harder from there.
Like to me, the panic button is Robertson just not coming back healthy or not himself again, and like you're like, oh, you can't use him anymore.
I'm hesitant, and maybe this is foolish of me. I'm hesitant to attach a panic button to Robertson's health and Robertson's performance.
Yeah.
But you know, I shouldn't be so stupid because I have the evidence from last season. But at the same time, it's like,
But no-
I'm ready for this team to get past that.
Yeah. They should be able to now, and like you said, it's that plus if those other guys don't work out, and then you're like, well, this season is trash now.
Right.
Cool.
I think I'll hit the panic button if Paul George doesn't find his consistent shot again.
Ooh.
I think I will literally hit the panic button because I think you can overcome the deficiencies somehow with Robertson. It'll be really freaking hard. They're like everything I think of, like, what if Noel's not as good? Well, you can go back to Patterson at the 5. Like, there are things you can do if Paul George doesn't have a consistent shot. I mean, this guy, you're talking about the dude who was 29% after the All-Star break. If that's bad again, I'm panicking because what do? You just signed him to 3+1, the very thing that was
Trade his ass.
That's a good
I
thing.
don't know.
You
I
got
don't know,
him.
man.
You got him. You know he can shoot the ball. He shot 40% still, even with having that.
That's true.
T-
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Stretch.
You're right. From number 8 at Derp Derp Dip.
Was that real, or
Yeah.
did you just make that up?
Yeah, I wish I ended it. Would you be willing to lose 100 days off of your life for OKC to win a championship this season?
Yes,
100%.
Yeah.
I'm 1,000,000% in that.
100 days?
I'll
I've
take
probably
off-
lost 100 days of my life because they haven't yet, dude.
Yeah, I'll take 5 to 10 years off.
That's easy, right?
Okay.
That's easy.
I mean,
Next, T at Drinking Tea.
I should not have said that.
Maybe don't say
Too far.
What do you think?
10 years of your life? That's a decade, dude.
Oh, guys, this is tough. This is tough right here.
Uh-oh.
What do you think is the most universal food/ingredient out there? For example, something that can be made in so many different ways. However, it may be difficult. However, to make it difficult, you cannot use chicken. So no
shit.
chicken. You can't use chicken.
Chicken was
What's
the
the most
answer.
versatile food or ingredient out there? This
Mine-
is an August question.
It's gonna be rice, right?
I was thinking
I was
rice.
gonna say rice.
Rice is good. You know what?
Lettuce or something.
For some reason,
salad-y.
mushrooms popped in my head.
Yeah,
You can do
mushrooms.
mushrooms. In
I
a
was
lot of
thinking
ways.
Think about how many
Pizza?
people that are like,
Pizza.
I don't like
Pizza.
Ground
rice.
beef,
Ground
Beef.
Yeah.
is
Yeah, you could
used
always
in-
go with beef.
cheese.
Cheese.
Ooh,
for
cheese.
Sure.
Cheese. You can put
All
cheese
of
on
these
like
things
everything.
are very versatile.
Yeah.
That's true. Man, there's a lot of versatile foods
Meat
out
though,
there.
like shrimp, you can do a lot of things with shrimp.
Shrimp's
Bubba,
good.
Bubba Gump.
I do too, man.
Is it the
I
case?
love it too.
Oh, you
I love it. I agree
love
with
what?
You said I love a good Bubba Gump.
No, I didn't say that.
You said that.
Wait, what? You didn't just say that?
I said
Kinda want
Bubba
to.
Gump told us.
Oh, I
that.
thought you said I
Fried
love
shrimp,
a good Bubba Gump.
Boiled
Whatever.
shrimp.
Eh,
Whatever.
that's a good question though.
It is.
But I think Jason, you had a good answer as far as like actual a dish.
Yeah. Pizza's
Pizza.
the thing you can do
so many
a
things with
lot
pizza.
with.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff there.
Tacos, you can do a lot of stuff there
Ooh.
too.
That's true.
Because you can just put anything in a tortilla and it's a taco.
That's true.
Anonymous
That's
at,
a great name.
at random person ME, or is it random person me? What are your what are your
Medical examiner or just me?
Ooh, good question.
Don't know.
What are your thoughts on the chances Nader becomes Singler's replacement as OKC's bench warmer, albeit the cheaper and more aesthetically pleasing replacement?
He thinks he's more attractive.
Is he?
Well, I mean,
He's got a better skin
Singler
color.
with
Definitely
the longer
doesn't-
hair was a good-looking guy. I mean,
longer hair.
Well,
No way.
when it do,
You take that back right now.
You're kicked
With,
off
like, the
this
full-
show, dude.
just-
guys, do
Get
you
outta here.
remember
With, like,
what
a wind
he looked like
butler.
before?
The Fury hair?
No, I'm talking
Get
about.
outta here.
I'm talking about not the side, not the fade on the side.
Dude,
and
there's
the back.
nothing that
Yeah.
you can do here.
He
to
looks
dig
like
yourself
third
out.
grade me.
He's a good.
before.
He's a good-looking guy.
No, I think this is correct though. I think
Yeah.
if there's a candidate
Yeah,
to
he
be
is.
that
Oh,
guy,
no.
we had someone tweet us earlier and say who's gonna be the white flag. You know,
Yeah.
now that Singler's gone, when you have to just throw in some, it's Nader. I think it's
Nader.
got to
I
be
think it is.
Nader.
It's Nader.
Yeah, it's Nader. I think you're right.
Let's hit some notes, Jason.
Uh-oh.
I know you're not
Wasn't
ready.
prepared for
Yeah, I
that,
should've
but let's
probably
do it.
prepped you. Turn.
Hold on.
Do it again.
Redo?
Yeah.
We sing this, by the way.
Wow.
Oh my God.
You really projected there, Jason.
I think that was him.
Devin Hall is signed with the Cairns Taipans. the 6'6" shooting guard was selected by the Oklahoma City Thunder with the 53rd overall pick in the 2018 NBA draft. That is a Australian League team, by the way.
Okay. I had no idea where that was.
Congrats to him.
North Queensland.
There you
Oh,
go.
Half my
damn.
family's Australian.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
cool.
okay.
Nice.
There you go.
I'm-
You kind of look Australian.
I have an Australian passport.
That's cool
Get
as
out
hell.
of town.
Well, that's righteous.
Wow.
All right.
All right.
Tower Theater in Oklahoma City will host Russell Westbrook and comedian Demetrius Deason on October 26th for a night of comedy benefiting the Regional Food Bank. Tickets are on sale now. We're kind of friends of the Tower Theater.
They're
so
good guys over there.
definitely
It's
go-
an
it's-
awesome place. You
it's-
should definitely go there.
Yeah, it sold out last year too, I believe. So if you're interested in something like that, go check that out. Everyone loves comedy, right?
Several Thunder players attended along
Yeah.
with Russ.
And I won't lie, I don't know who Demetrius Deason is.
Never
I don't
heard of
either.
I have no idea.
it. I like stand up, but do not know that guy.
Don't like him though.
I bet he's funny.
But that son of a bitch is. No,
Dennis Schroeder shaved his head.
that's a bummer.
He did.
Did you see that?
You guys mentioned that last week.
Yeah, I remember.
We did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Does he
we
have,
were a
like, a
little
spot
we were a
of
little
gold spray
toasty
paint?
last week.
Just-
He should do
He
that.
should. He should for sure do that. if he
It
hasn't.
doesn't seem like him when
Yeah,
without
it's
that.
weird.
I was actually when you
It's
guys.
weird.
I was listening back to last week's pod, and I was imagining him in my head without that, and I was like, I don't even think I would recognize him.
Strange. It's really, really strange. Manu Ginobili retired at the
Oh,
age
man.
of 41. 16 years in the NBA, all in San Antonio.
That's pretty crazy.
Said it at the top, man. It feels weird.
Yeah. If I had any more to drink,
Cheers.
I
Yeah.
would drink to it. But
Inventor of the Euro step.
Ah,
He's
Swiper of bats.
maybe the only player that played primarily off the bench to get into the Hall of Fame,
Yeah.
right? Or he will be inducted into the
Yeah.
Hall of Fame.
Oh, for
Definitely.
sure.
Is that? I mean, there's no one today, right? That would be that. I don't
I
think.
couldn't even.
Is Parrish a Hall of Famer?
Yes.
McHale?
Parrish is for sure. McHale, yeah, but McHale started most of the time, right? I mean, I think later in his career
yeah,
maybe
he
he started
did.
coming off the bench.
Yeah, fair enough.
But Parrish played for around 40 years. So I have no idea how much.
Still out
he-
there today.
Yeah.
some say he was born on the court.
But that might be a good one. It might be Parrish might be a good one.
Say.
But Ginobili is just, I don't know. He's
That was
got
an incredible career.
something
man.
about him. Like I think when you invent a move like he did, basically, and you kind of revolutionize the game, revolutionize the game to a certain extent. The way he
his
did.
passing.
Yeah, fun
everything
player.
about his game was awesome to watch. Even though I
Yeah.
despised him for a while, just
Well, and it
because
was a
of
huge
the
part of the Spurs model. Too,
Yeah.
you know what I mean.
Definitely.
Oh, for
With
sure.
The pass first.
Think
the
Pop's
selfish.
feeling a little lonely right now.
Oh
little
man,
bit.
Yeah.
I feel bad for Bob.
Guys, it's got to be his last season, right?
Timmy D was at their
Close.
practice the other day, right?
He might
Yeah,
want to
he
see what
was.
this team has.
So was Josh Eustace.
Yeah. That's what I was referring was that picture.
Maybe Pop wants to see what this team has.
I think so.
You know, and then judge it from
Yeah,
there.
I could see that. If they do some serious work, I could see him sticking around. But I
It's
mean,
hard because now you don't have that guy in the locker room that's going to be like, listen to,
Yeah,
Greg.
Right.
you know,
Greg.
yeah. Well, I've been here for years. It
Right.
works. Now
Right.
it's like
Yeah.
new blood coming in there. It's like, well,
But he
it
does
might be
ha-
hard to get these guys.
He
Yeah.
does have like a reputation at this point, though.
Sure.
Of, like you were the all-time like most amazing coach.
Doesn't necessarily mean that it.
Yeah,
you know,
it might not translate if you don't have a
That's
guy
true.
in the locker room.
No,
going
that's
like,
true.
Hey,
LeBron's new HBO show, The Shop, debuted the other night. Anyone watch it? I watched it.
I haven't
watched some of
yet.
it.
You
Saw
did?
bits.
Yeah.
It's good.
good.
I like it.
It was
I
good.
like things like that, man. It's just like sitting around, cutting it up.
Yep.
I like it.
I'm going to check it out soon.
It's cool. They kind of obviously hit on social issues and everything like that. Comes from a cool perspective with LeBron and his buddies just sitting around, and it's very uncensored. Just a cool
Draymond
environment.
Green's on there.
Draymond Green was on there. There's like John Stewart's on there. Gerard Carmichael, is that his name? Is that his name?
Gerard Carmichael?
Gerard
Yeah,
Carmichael,
That dude
yeah.
is hilarious.
Yeah, see, I don't know anything about
Dude,
him.
you should watch his stand-up. It's very good.
Saw him on the show, and I was like, I gotta watch this guy.
Yeah,
This guy's
no,
awesome.
he's very good.
Thunder signed Dante Grantham, undrafted rookie out of Clemson, to a training camp deal. A lot of times at this point in the year, fans are like, "Who's this guy? He's gonna be on the team?" It's just a training camp deal.
He's just a fella.
Probably not.
Yeah, he'll probably be on the G League.
He's
team,
just
on
a
the Blue.
fella.
He's just a fella. Just hanging
And
out.
last but definitely not least, Oreo is
Oh,
releasing
thank God. I was waiting for this. The whole podcast. I've never heard of this.
some absolutely outlandish flavors,
Such as?
such as hot chicken wing. What? Yeah, perfect. And wasabi.
An Oreo?
Okay, wasabi I could see.
What? How?
I'm just saying.
I don't
could,
see.
I'm not like
I
surprised.
don't see.
I'm not surprised. by that.
Oreos? Like,
Doesn't make sense.
Are they releasing them here?
Chocolate
or like, is this,
cookies.
like,
I think this is
Japan or
China.
something? Okay.
oh,
so,
okay. This all makes sense. Never mind.
Wasabi
I'm
makes
not
sense in
surprised.
China, but hot chicken wing doesn't make sense.
There's like 8,000 Kit Kat flavors in
Yeah,
Japan.
there-
And
Oh, is
some of
there?
them are like weird.
See, I didn't
So-
know this.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's like avocado.
I just read an article the other day about how KFC in China has like flatlined because like other restaurants are starting to include, along with fried chicken, like hot dogs and random foods, and that
Wow.
KFC is not. And people are like, also a regular like family bucket or whatever is like extraordinarily expensive in China.
Yeah, KFC.
Or, this might be
overseas.
Japan.
Who
No,
knew?
you're right. In Asia, KFC is it's a
Huge.
delicacy. They sell out.
It's
they
a
do it
Christmas
for-
tradition.
They do it in Christmas and Thanksgiving. And
Which is
you have to
so
order
weird.
it months in advance, literally.
Who knew
Mind-boggling.
that the listeners were going to get so many KFC facts?
That's true.
Yeah.
This is good stuff, guys.
I hope we're correct about
Do I
any
want
of
to
this,
talk
'cause
about
I'm
the
just...
scissors and scotch?
Yeah, we're getting there.
Okay, I don't know. I thought maybe you forgot. Okay,
No.
dude. I thought maybe you forgot.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Thanks to David Brandon for joining us. He got here a little late, but that was awesome.
It was
Yeah, it was
actually kind of
actually-
cool.
yeah, it was
the coolest entrance anyone's ever had on this.
Yeah, it was the fashionably,
Fashionably late.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can find his work at dailythunder.com. You can follow him on Twitter at BirdRightsNBA. Is that right? At BirdRightsNBA. Support this man. He supports us by coming here. You guys go support them. That's how it works. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Watch these episodes and more live or on demand. You can find us at OKCThunderheads.com or anywhere the podcasts are found. So here's what we're going to do, Jacob. We haven't done this in a bit. You obviously can find us on iTunes. Go rate us 5 stars. Write a little review up. Screenshot it. If you're local, if you're in the Oklahoma City area, screenshot it. First person that sends it to us, we're going to give you a free haircut at Scissors and Scotch, our sponsor, which is an awesome place.
You really need to go there if you're in this area at all.
Yeah.
It's a
'cause
full-service
fantastic.
haircut and style, cleansing shampoo and conditioning treatment, rejuvenating steam towel treatment and back of neck razor shave, and soothing scalp massage and face refresher.
Listen to
He
that.
had that on his brain.
And
he
not
just
only
remembered
that, but you're going to be able to walk right over to the bar after your haircut and enjoy a nice drink.
Or
Free on the
or
house.
you can
Free
do-
on the house.
Last time I went, I had one before. Had
Yeah,
half
too.
of it, and then after my haircut,
can
had
have
the
it
rest
during.
of it.
There you
It
go.
was quite nice. I didn't want to have it during because
Yeah,
I didn't
because
want
the
hair
hair
in
could
it.
get inside. Yeah.
So there you go. Just
Yeah.
go,
It's a great place.
Go review us on iTunes, screenshot it, send it to us on Twitter or however, whatever means you want to. And first person that does it, we're gonna give you this little prize. So we'll be back next week with another one. Till then, and as always, thunder up.